Hey guys, it's Taylor, and welcome to my channel. I was just tagged to do the 21 Pilots book tag by Literature Reads, and I will leave the link down to her channel below. She's a new booktuber, and she has a great channel, so you should really go check it out. This tag was created by Brooke over at As Read by Brooke, and I will also leave the link to her channel down below. So I actually have never really listened to 21 Pilots, so I think this tag will give me a good excuse to just go and listen to some of their songs, because I'm always willing to listen to a new band. Because as of right now, the music I've been listening to is basically musical theater soundtracks, including Phantom of the Opera, which is great, and the Jane Eyre musical soundtrack, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame soundtrack, all of which are great. But maybe I should go back to listening to some bands. The questions are all based off of 21 Pilots songs, so I'm going to go through the questions now. Stressed out. Pick a book which you wish you could turn back time and read for the first time again. Obviously I'm going to have to go with Harry Potter. I don't even know if I really need to say more. I actually got to the Harry Potter game pretty late. I was about 11 or 12 when I first read them. And I love them, I fell in love with them, I just completely immersed myself in the world, and you can even tell by my collection of books that they are well loved. So I think that is 100%, not even think, I know that is the book that I would want to go back and read all over again for the first time. The next question is based off of the song Ride. Pick a character who goes on a decline or gets worse mentally throughout the book series. For this one, I'm going to have to go with Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games series. I think this really speaks for itself, but I wish I could appreciate it now that I'm older, so I'll probably have to reread the books. But I didn't realize when I first read the books that why Katniss was such a downer. God, 7th grade was the worst. It's because throughout the book series, she keeps declining further and further into her PTSD and her depression. And this decline ultimately leads to her having a breakdown near the end of the books. But luckily, she and Peeta can help each other heal throughout time and hopefully reach a better place. The next book is fairly local. Pick a book or series that takes place all over the country and or world. For this one, I'm going to have to go with Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. If you don't know what this book is about, it's basically following the reincarnation of one soul throughout several time periods. So you start in like New Guinea, Australia with the slave trade, and then you move on to 1930s Switzerland, and then you go to like 1970s California, to England in the modern day, to Korea in a dystopian future, and finally concluding with America in a Hawaii in a post-apocalyptic world. So this book not only goes through several genres, but several lifetimes throughout the world, and it doesn't just take place in one time period, but it takes place throughout hundreds or thousands of years. And what's really interesting about this book is you see the change in language, first with 1800s dialogue to 1930s posh dialogue, whatever, 1970s, more casual mystery novel thriller thing, which is what the genre of the 1970s period is. And finally, it goes on to this whole corporate language in the dystopian future and concludes with almost a breakdown of English as we know it, which can be kind of difficult to read, but once you get it, it's honestly very amazing. So I highly recommend this book if you want to not just see multiple countries, but multiple lives and multiple histories. The next question is hometown. Pick a book that takes place in your hometown or near it. So my hometown is actually pretty small, and for some reason I couldn't really find a lot of books that take place in Los Angeles per se. So I decided to go ahead and pick a book that takes place mostly in my college town. And that is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard Sword of Summer. I actually haven't read this book yet, but I know it takes place in Boston, so I'm excited to see what Rick Riordan thinks, or his interpretation of Boston is, along with all of the Norse mythology going on with it. The next question is car radio. Pick a character who is mostly silent but has a head full of thoughts. For this one, I'm going with Azriel from A Court of Mist and Fury. I love this guy, but he's very silent because he's a spy, so he knows that for the most part he needs to keep to the shadows and keep silent and just let other people talk and spill their plans and secrets, which I think is a great quality in a spy and also my future husband. The next question is Tear in My Heart. Pick a couple in which one character was hard to get to know at first, but eventually opened up and warmed up to the other character. Of course I'm going to have to go with Lizzie and Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. If you don't know the story, it's basically what kind of fueled the plot for a lot of future rom-coms. Boy meets girl, one of them hates the other, and then eventually they learn that they had misjudged that person, and they come together and fall in love, and it's perfect. So basically, Darcy is very prideful, but he's also really socially awkward, so he doesn't really know how to converse with people, and Lizzie takes that as him being super arrogant and super prideful, so she decides she doesn't want anything to do with him, and then eventually she realizes that he's a good guy, and once he realizes that maybe he's been acting like a jerk, they both decide to change for the better and come together and marry and live in his wonderfully huge home, Pemberley. House of Gold. Pick a character who has a strong relationship with their mother. This one I'm going to have to go with Percy Jackson from Percy Jackson and the Olympians. His relationship with his mother is so sweet and so sincere. He refers to her as the nicest lady in the world, and he's willing to travel to the underworld to get his mother back. He loves his mother, and he would do anything for her, and we know she would do anything for him, even risk her own safety so that he can live. So this relationship is one of the most pure mother-son relationships I have ever seen. The next question is Run and Go. Pick a character who is on the run. For this one, I'm going with Darcy from Searching for David's Heart. Yeah, Darcy. By Sherry Bennett. So if you don't know what this book is about, it's about a young girl whose brother dies in a car crash, David. And so David's organs are donated to help others survive. But Darcy feels like if she can find whoever has David's heart, she'll find David as well. So she and her best friend Sam go on this cross-country journey to try and find David's heart. So they're basically on the run from their family and the police with this kind of crazy mission. And it doesn't make sense, but also this book is so heartwarming, and the plot twist at the end is so amazing and so wonderful, and every time I read this book, I cry. This was my favorite book before I met Harry Potter and Jane Austen. The next question is Holding On to You. Pick a character who is questioning or very uncertain of their beliefs, whether these beliefs are religious, moral, or otherwise. With this one, I'm going to have to go with Cassie from the Animorphs series. If you don't know what the series is about, it's about 6 teenagers who basically have to fight brain-stealing aliens. But this book doesn't really shy around the brutality of war. These characters who throughout the book series go from 13 to like 16, 17, they kill people and they commit atrocious acts of war, all in the name of saving humanity and the galaxy. And so Cassie is supposed to be the tree hugger and the pacifist of the group, and she often has to question her own morals she has to question her own morals because she's killing all of these people. And some of these people, their bodies were stolen by these aliens. So it's not those people specifically who are trying to kill them, but the aliens themselves. And she has to reconcile the fact that she has killed innocent people in the name of good, and it makes her question whether she is as loving and kind as she claims to be. Semi-automatic. Pick a character who is double-sided or has an alter ego. I don't think I need to answer any more questions, but I will. So, Severus Snape is probably one of the greatest double agents, but it's not just that. Besides Animorphs, he was one of the first characters to really introduce me to a morally ambiguous character. He's not good, he's not bad, he's not a hero, and he's not a villain. He's just in the middle. And as a kid, that's sometimes a hard concept to grasp, that not everyone is good or bad. There are people who just really aren't either. And Snape's whole double, triple agent thing really made me see that and come to grips with that, and also incorporate characters similar to him within my own writing. Trees. Pick a character who is searching for the truth, whatever that truth may be. So I actually don't have a copy of these books with me, but I'm going to have to go with Lemony Snicket from A Series of Unfortunate Events. Not only is he the author of the books, but he's the one researching the Baudelaire children and Count Olaf. And so throughout the books, you constantly hear him talking about his research and his journeys, and basically why he's doing all of this investigating for the Baudelaire children. So he's trying to figure out what happened to them and why, and basically how this ties into the whole grand scheme of the novels. And finally, we have Not Today. Pick two characters who are so different that they often clash and don't understand each other. For this one, I'm going to have to go with Melanie and Scarlett from Gone with the Wind. If you don't know about this book, it was adapted into one of the greatest films of all time. It's also very racist and almost kind of pro-South, pro-slavery in a way, but it's still one of my favorite books and was adapted into one of my favorite movies. And with Melanie Hamilton and Scarlett O'Hara, Scarlett is completely selfish and mean and cunning, and Melanie is completely kind and sincere and understanding, and as such, they clash. Melanie is not mean to Scarlett, but sometimes she doesn't understand the decisions Scarlett makes to help all of them live. Scarlett is actually in love with Melanie's husband, Ashley, and and as such, she really resents Melanie and also doesn't understand how Melanie can be so kind to people all the time. And one of my favorite cinematic scenes in history is when you see the two of them kind of understand each other for the first time. Basically, in the film, Scarlett kills a Yankee soldier in self-defense, and Melanie runs downstairs, and she sees Scarlett with the gun, and Scarlett sees Melanie holding a sword. And the two of them finally understand that while they may be essentially different people, they are the same in terms of protecting the ones that they love. But yeah, these are two of my favorite characters of all time, and together they create one of the most complicated friendships I have ever seen.
Oh, another one. Hope this one isn't hungry.
He'll be hungry.
I'll tell Prissy to get an extra plate.
Miss Scarlett! Don't spoil it, Miss Scarlett.
Turn me loose, you fool! Turn me loose! The rest!
He's her husband, ain't he?
Good night, Scarlett.
But Red, you can...
You go into the arena alone. The lions are hungry for
Oh,
you.
Red, don't leave me, don't.
I'm not afraid.
What a lovely dress, Scarlett, darling. India wasn't able to come tonight. Will you be an angel? I do need you to help me receive my guests. It's me. Here's our darling Scarlett. Good evening. Good evening. Why, Scarlett, good evening.
Good evening, Miss Scarlett.
Ashley, aren't you going to get our Scarlett a glass of punch?
And that was the 21 Pilots book tag. I really hope you enjoyed this. So for this tag, I'm going to tag Jessie from Jessie's Shelf, Grace from Graceful Books, and Tina from the Never Ending Bookshelf. I hope you enjoyed this tag. If you want, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in my next video later. Bye!